Most founders sound exactly like the competition. If you want to be competitive in a crowded market, you can't just be better, you have to be different. I'm your host, Cameron Olds.
And I'm Dallin Merrill, and we're here to talk about how you can avoid being mistaken for your competition, differentiate your brand, and ultimately create a lasting competitive advantage for yourself in the market.
Welcome to Differentiate or Die. This episode of Differentiate or Die is brought to you by MessageOS. And by brought to you by, we mean written by.
If your team describes your product 10 different ways, your product is no longer differentiated. It's confusing, and so are your customers.
MessageOS helps big teams keep every sales deck, social caption, and support reply on message and on brand.
Clear, consistent, differentiated. Every time someone talks about you.
See how it works at protagonistcomms.co. Oh, Daryl Merrill, how's it going?
Good. All right, let's just do this.
Let's do it.
Cameron, be honest. Did you use an aux cord in high school to hook up your iPod to your car?
I did. Was there a different way? Oh, I think towards the end I used Bluetooth because I got a car that had Bluetooth in it.
Nice.
I was fancy like that.
Dude, when Bluetooth hit, it changed everything. It made life so much easier. It's probably the best invention in audio history.
It's hard to like. I can't imagine life without Bluetooth now.
Yeah, but it used to be the aux cord, right? Like that was cool initially. Yeah. Everybody who didn't have an aux cord in their car was missing out. You always wanted to go in a car that had good audio.
Yep.
What were you booming out to?
You know, I'm not much of a music guy, being honest. Like I would boom out to like movie soundtracks and stuff
on
my way
funny.
to school. Yeah. But I mean, if I was listening to something other than that, then it would probably be just like whatever was popular on the radio. I'm kind of a basic music guy. My wife hates it.
That's funny.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I was probably the uncool guy because I didn't listen to, all the rap or any of that. I definitely was more conventional, liked a lot of the clean pop music.
Are you an alternative guy? You strike me as an alternative guy.
I mean, a little bit. I like some, but it's a little bit too much for me sometimes. Sometimes I really liked Andy Grammer. I still really like Andy Grammer. So kind of more his style.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get that.
But also I liked, for sports, I loved some of those pump up music songs.
Right.
But
yeah.
I mean, that's like while you're in the car going to it or whatever. So, and in high school it wasn't a thing. Like, I mean, it kind of was, but you were weirder if you went around with headphones in your ears. Now it's like normal. Like,
yeah, now it's normal.
I think if I went to any high school, half of the people there would probably have an AirPod in their ear.
Probably. Yeah, my sister does it. She's in college right now, and she won't walk across campus unless she has AirPods in her ear. Just because I think she doesn't want to talk to people. But
well, let's get into it today.
I suspect that all of this music talk means we're talking music industry today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Who we talking about?
There are two companies we're going to talk about today, Skullcandy and Beats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Skullcandy's fun because they're a Utah company again. So wanted to highlight them and the work they did. Do you know where they were started, Cameron?
Wasn't it Park City?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And they were started because their founder was tired of the sports options, right? He was a snowboarder. And so he was like, come on, like there's got to be a better alternative to these massive earphones on my head.
Interesting.
And there were in-ear buds, but they weren't as good and not very popular. So he created a brand around this outdoors style earbuds.
Oh, okay, cool. I remember it was like mostly, or I always saw Skullcandy, the brand, around like skater kids.
Yeah.
Growing up. Was that just because it was stuck in your ear easier than when you were at the skate park or something like that? Or was it, I have no idea. This is totally out of my realm.
Yeah, no, that was exactly the kind of people he was going after, right? So that's exactly right. Snowboarders, skateboarders, high energy sports fanatics.
Gotcha.
So that fits exactly with his brand. They were privately held initially. Did you know they went public?
They didn't.
They did.
They went public.
They did. Their
frick?
ticker symbol was awesome. It was SKUL.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's great.
But they were later, actually, I've never heard of this before. I'm sure it happens, and anybody in finance is probably laughing at me because they know of lots of companies that this has happened to, but they got purchased and are now privately owned again. I've never heard of that happening.
Wow.
Have you?
I mean, Elon, when he's like, funding secured, taking Tesla private, whatever. That tweet that got him in trouble. No, but I haven't. Yeah. I know you can take it. Well, that's what he did. Well, sorry, speaking of Elon, that's what he did with Twitter. He took it private after it was public for a long time, didn't he?
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
You didn't know that Elon bought frickin' Twitter?
I did, but I didn't. He bought like a majority stake. I didn't realize that meant it went private again.
Yeah, he cleaned him out, dude. Frickin' just bought them all out.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. I just didn't put two and two together. But okay, cool.
We're even now from the So Delicious.
That's funny.
So we got Skullcandy.
I don't think it's very common. I think generally once a company goes public, they stay there.
Yeah, yeah. Because why would you want to take it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the other company, Beats. Do you know anything about them?
I just know that I think they were acquired by Apple at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all I know.
They are also privately held. They're just a subsidiary of Apple.
Gotcha.
So I guess that kind of means they're public because Apple's public.
Sure.
So I guess if you buy Apple stock, you're technically purchasing a part of Beats as well. But they were founded by Dr. Dre, right? So
yeah, Beats by Dre.
Someone in the music industry, someone there. His thing was like, I want to create a product because I feel like when people are listening to my music, they don't get the full effect of what's really? Actually, yeah. Like I want them to actually like feel my music better than anything on the market. So wanting to create a better quality sound for the consumers.
Interesting.
So yeah, today we wanted to put the two against each other and see what we get. So let's hop into their website real quick. So here's what we get. Audio elevated, style delivered.
Okay, interesting. Audio elevated, style delivered. I mean, I feel like audio delivered or audio elevated, style delivered. Okay, cool. H1, H2, what's the H2 say? Meet the headphones that rewrite the rules. Aviator 900 ANC fuses, Lux, design with immersive 360 THX spatial. Okay, cool. Nice. Well, hey, they actually they passed your cardinal sin. They actually delivered some messaging at the top above the fold. That's great.
Yeah, I think that it's a little bit basic messaging.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like audio elevated, it's like, okay,
meaningless.
That to me just says better audio, you know?
Right. Sure.
So one thing we always say is don't just be better, be different. So that to me is just, it's tables. It's so vague.
You're right.
Style delivered, I mean, that's a little bit better.
I would agree.
Yeah, you could build your brand off of being a little bit different stylistically.
Right, yeah. What's below the fold?
Love Louder, Shop the Pride collection. So this maybe is building into that style.
Okay, yeah.
Or even target audience.
Gotcha,
so
okay.
If you're going off of a specific target audience, you could definitely use Pride, especially during Pride Month this month.
Sure. I don't know if like just jumping onto things like during Pride Month is a differentiator, though. Would you say? Like
no.
Okay, but you're just saying like, you're just saying that the style of Pride Month leads into this idea that Skullcandy is more about the style, or that's their thing.
Yeah,
Right.
if that's what they're going after currently as their differentiator, it could be used to enhance that.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, I agree with you. I think it's pretty vague, but it's there at least. Crush every action. So I guess here they're just trying to show a product. Yeah, that's all that seems to me. No messaging really for that one. Premium sound for the people. We teamed up with Bose to create Method 360 noise cancellation and earbud with unbeatable audio clarity. So still nothing really about
Still touting the premium sound.
Yep. And then the store. Well, at least they waited till now to really show your store. I'm okay with that. I mean, I think your store has to be.
Oh, of course.
You know, you gotta. When you scroll down, I want to see your store. Just save a little bit of space for messaging.
Yeah, agreed. And they do that. I mean, whether or not it's clear or unique, like they definitely try. They have a nice H1, H2 on the Hero above the fold. That was nice.
Okay, let's take a look at Beats.
Beats. Okay, what do we got here? Okay,
well,
same one.
Okay.
H1, H2.
Yeah, before we get into that, just initially, I know this isn't messaging, but it looks cleaner.
Yeah, cleaner.
Like they're definitely like messaging visually wise, a cleaner product.
Right.
Power Beats Pro 2. Okay, great. No messaging
no
at all.
messaging, just a freaking product.
Yeah, zero
They don't
messaging.
pass.
No, that's awful.
Yeah. Okay, what's down below the fold?
And then the store.
Oh, store time.
Oh my gosh.
Power Beats. I know they had the pill. Didn't the pill make them famous? Beats pill.
Yes.
So we're looking at right now, popular now. There's 3 different products underneath that section. There's the Power Beats Pro 2, the Beats Studio Pro, and then the Beats pill. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So they just went right into the store without really telling you why they're the bomb.
A gift guide.
Ultimate gift guide. Okay.
Seamless shopping through Apple. Fast and free delivery. In-store pickup. Easy returns. So this is probably one of the reasons they got so big. You know.
Yeah. That actually might be a decent differentiator, and it's kind of cool that they put it on their homepage. I kind of dig that. I want to let's revisit that in a little bit because that might be interesting to talk about.
I mean, it just feels like it should be higher up. It shouldn't be their only differentiator either. You know, like Apple has their own products, right? So if that's what I'm going for is just something that syncs well with Apple, like.
It might be like if they I have never owned Beats, but like I imagine if it's integrated with iPhone, that it probably acts a lot like AirPods.
Yeah.
And it just integrates right into. So that honestly might be a decent differentiator from everyone else's. They're a part of the Apple ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that might be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting to look at.
But yeah, definitely Beats cables.
New Beats cables, fresh juice for your device. So they probably changed the USB-C. So that feels old almost.
Yeah.
Like, feels like everybody has USB-C.
Yeah,
now.
everyone's moved the move now. Whatever.
So, okay, yeah, that's it. Then the store.
Which
compare products. Pretty cut and dry. Cameron, I think both of these companies might have some of the worst messaging I've seen.
Yeah, it's tough. And I mean, so those of you listening might be like, oh, you guys are cherry picking, like these are D2C brands and they make the sale on social media before they get to the website. And I'm like, to that, I think we would respond and say, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to, one, I'm sure that their social media doesn't tout anything either, any of their differentiated factors. I'd bet you dollars to donuts that's the case. And then two, like, why wouldn't you just use the space to widen and reinforce your competitive moat on your website? Like, that's a huge thing, especially in this industry where I feel like there's so many options for headphones. Especially, I mean, like, you're looking at Apple too. It's got like its own line in addition to Beats by Dre. and then you've got like Shure, you've got like Sennheiser, and all of these other companies. So like I heard, dude, you know what I heard the other day? This might be actually kind of an applicable thing.
Yeah.
I heard the other day that someone on LinkedIn was like, you shouldn't worry what your competitors are doing because it doesn't matter. And I understood what he was saying. I think what he was trying to say was, you just like stay heads down. Oh, I think what he was trying to say was, don't just replicate your competitors' features, which I totally agree with. But I hate the way he said it, because you definitely should worry about your competitors. And the reason why is because your target audience worries about your competitors. They're evaluating you against the people in your market. And if you don't worry about what they're doing and how you're different and how you build your competitive moat, like, then your target audience and your target consumers aren't going to care.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you can point to like a lot of companies. I mean, let's put, for example, Apple this week, their stock just decreased significantly, right?
Yeah.
And part of the reason is they're not doing anything right now. They're staying the same, right? They're not improving. They're not differentiating anymore.
No.
For a long time they were, right? They were different. They were always cutting they were always different, being like trying to create that competitive advantage. And now they're not doing anything. And so other companies that are taking their shares. They are not taking them literally, but people are investing in them instead of in Apple now.
Yeah.
And if you're not continuously reinforcing your differentiation and your messaging, I mean, I initially thought with Beats, I was like, oh, okay, maybe what they're doing is they're on their website, they're just saying, if you're coming here, you already want us because we're a premium brand. Right? Like, you already want to buy Beats because you know we're the best.
Right, yeah. I'm like looking at there.
It just doesn't work that way, right? It could for a little while, right? You might be the best, but if you're not continuously trying to differentiate by improving both your product and your messaging, then you're going to get lost because others will end up getting better than you.
Yeah, I totally agree. With regards to Beats by Dre and Skullcandy, I mean, since they don't directly say what they do, I'd be interested if there's someone listening that's totally like an audiophile and knows this probably better than we do. I'd be interested to know what you think. But since they don't say it, I think we just kind of have to infer. And let's say, okay, perfect example. You know, I'm in the market. We're perfect examples. I'm not an audiophile. Daryl, I don't think you're an audiophile. But no. We're in the market. We want a nice pair of headphones. And we're looking at Skullcandy and Beats by Dre right now, and we don't know which one to go for. We have no idea. You haven't told us why. I mean, like, we just assume that both have decent audio. And so, but like, that's table stakes. We always talk about that. Like, I'm not going to buy a pair of speakers or headphones if I think it's going to be garbage audio. Like, you're not anything if you think you have better audio.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're left to infer what the differentiators might be. But before we get into that, Daryl, let's make the verdict. Are Beats by Dre and Skullcandy differentiated at the moment? At least off of what their website says.
Off of their websites, it feels like I can't tell either way. Like, I have no idea which one I would purchase.
Right. Me neither.
I mean, they're different price wise, so
for sure.
And quality wise. So they might not be the amazing examples, because to me, Beats is a higher quality headphone. But they're more expensive, and Skullcandy are cheaper. But more than that, like, one of the reasons I love Skullcandy is because it's interesting. So, you know, if you have a pair of AirPods, they could fall out of your ear kind of easy because they don't really have anything keeping it there. Skullcandies have this little tab that you can press up on your ear, and it'll actually keep it in your ear.
Okay.
And I actually really like that. But, like, that's like, you know, they don't message that, and there's nothing. But so I did a little bit of digging into Skullcandy.
Okay.
on why they went private again. Because they went public, they were doing really, really well. But one of their issues was they had two converging products. They had companies like Beats that were higher quality, more premium, and then they had this budget, these budget earphones coming from China, or these really low quality other ones. So they were kind of squeezed by these two different types of earphones and couldn't find their spot.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So because of that, because these other two kind of took both of those markets, they couldn't go for the low quality and cheaper, but they couldn't go for the high quality. Then they were kind of pushed out. But because they were trying to expand, right? They were trying to expand at the same time and get products that were maybe in the more premium or more budget, but they stopped differentiating that sports mode, right? Like skateboarders and kind of like what we did with Peloton versus
Peloton versus iFit?
Versus iFit, right? iFit was totally with the outdoors movie, right? Like they take you outdoors, right?
Yeah.
And like if Skullcandy had something like that on their website, like make your outdoor experience like louder, or like have really good messaging towards the outdoor sports market, they could have captured that.
Yeah, I'm looking at their Instagram right now, and I mean, I can visually see that they think they're still trying to go for that outdoor active wear vibe, or target audience.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen real fast. Yeah, so I mean, but like on the messaging standpoint, they're like premium sound for the people, it's going to cutting attitude precision, meet the ultimate sonic super device, Method 360. But then they have like Tony Hawk over here, So like that makes sense to me. I've officially joined the loud and proud crew over at Skullcandy. The most exciting part about this partnership is it means unlimited Skullcandy and headphones and speakers since my kid. That's nice. But the aesthetic is different. I mean, okay, like over here on Instagram, like visually speaking, like it is a lot. We're looking at a lot of skateboarders.
Yeah.
A lot of skateboarders, a lot of activity. So I would agree with you, Daryl. Like if they were being squeezed out because they were kind of caught in this awkward middle ground between the premium upper end market and like the garbage made in China cheap crap, then like they should have just stuck with this skateboard, like out. Maybe it's skateboard, but I don't know if that market would be big enough for them. Maybe it would, but like active wear. I know that active wear is not the right one, but like it's just going to stay in your ear when you're flipping and you're going vertical on like a half pipe, or when you're boxing, or when you're doing this or whatever. Because I imagine they have some premium tech around that too,
Yeah, and it's a great logo for it, right? It's a perfect brand for that market.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, visually, I think the differentiation is there because it's all about skateboarders. So like a skateboarder would come here and automatically be like, oh, okay, cool, like this is for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like wouldn't know that on your website. Audio elevated, style delivered. Yeah. I mean, you hit it on a style delivered. Like I feel like that's 33% of the way there.
Yeah, totally.
Because you could take it further.
Yeah, I love kind of what they did with Tony Hawk. I think that's like a perfect starting place,
Yeah.
Like get some of these big guys in here to show that outdoors people love this item for what they do.
I'm looking at their About Us page, because sometimes you can glean things there, and I'm not seeing anything either about skating or whatever. Okay, cool. So, I mean, if we were to differentiate Skullcandy, what would be the move? Would we double down on this for the skaters, for the athletes? Would you go total athletes, or would you stick in just the skating realm?
Not like any athlete. Like I wouldn't say like a runner or, but I would do the high intensity sports. So snowboarding, skateboarding, skiing.
Like X Games stuff?
Yes. I feel like that's a better market.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost see the H1, H2. The H1 could be earphones that stay in your ear when you're shredding.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Yes, I
something
love
like that.
And Beats, for them, I would double down on your Apple, your premium partnership.
They also talk about like the studio quality sound.
Yeah.
I just have a hard. So I mean, I can picture what that means in my head. I imagine if you're working in like a record label and you're like working with Taylor Swift on an album, you probably have a pretty nice set of headphones, and I think that's what Dr. Dre was trying to give to the people. So like there you have a different, almost a different target audience that's maybe a little bit more nuanced about how low is the bass, how high can the highs go, where are my mids at? I don't know. And
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely do that. I would just message that more. I would message that, and I would message Apple ecosystem a ton. And they actually do. To their credit, I think they do. They do the wrong thing. They talk about easy shopping through Apple, where I'm like, I feel like that's the wrong thing to tout. You should just tout how easily it connects into Apple's ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking, and it also like you can put it on Find My Device app, right? So
Oh wow.
that's a pretty cool thing that it'll find your device for you on an Apple device. So definitely a differentiator there.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
You have to go down pretty far and dig to even figure that out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man, they should flout that, because that proprietary exclusive partnership with like the world's most valuable company, that's a huge thing that it integrates right into Apple's walled garden, which is their differentiator. Like that's super huge. They should definitely tout that in addition to the studio.
I mean, that main picture on the page, the guy's got to be like holding an iPhone next to it,
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Like,
Great idea.
On. Like hold your iPhone up and then have your Beats, have the Find My Phone app there or something, kind of show it visually, but also talk about how it pairs. And it doesn't you don't want it to be your H1, but maybe your H2 or right below that.
For sure. So Daryl, to wrap up, I can hear a CMO, I can hear a chief product officer and a product marketing team. I can hear them all chirping in my head right now. And they're saying the same thing. They're saying, yeah, but that's too narrow. That positioning is too narrow. We can't address the whole market at once. There's so many different needs among skaters. There's so many different needs among snowboarders. There's so many different needs among people who want studio quality sound. I'm not convinced. I can hear them all chirping in my head saying that. Daryl, what would you say to those people, to those product marketers?
Say if you're worried about losing runners, you missed the mark. The more you differentiate, the wider the moat gets. The more those that you're actually trying to capture in your market will come. Doesn't mean you have to not sell it to runners. They still might purchase your product, but that's not who you're marketing towards. Doesn't mean you can't offer it to other people, other types of people, but other people are always going to try and compete in your space. So if you don't do something different, they're going to take it from you.
We also talk about something like a hierarchy of product messaging and product differentiation, right? So up here at the top, your messaging that you would splash on your homepage and your LinkedIn bio, or sorry, your Instagram bio or whatever, like that's your main message. That's like the highest, most broad expression of who you are and how you're different, right? But then you can take that message and you can drop down key messages from your main message into your product messages. So each product can be servicing different needs inside your segment, but you keep your differentiated messaging, or you keep your hero language, or you keep your problem language, you drop them down, almost like you just copy and paste them. And that way you still can service different segment needs. I'm sure that a snowboarder probably has a different, I'm wearing a beanie, maybe that interferes with my sound, or when my beanie rubs up against my headphones, I get interference or static or whatever. Like you can still build to individual specific problems inside of your segment, your wider segment, but you keep the message the same. You can address the messaging as the main message as well. So I would say that.
Thanks for joining us today on Differentiate or Die as we dissected Skullcandy versus Beats. Thanks for coming, and join us next time.
Hey, see you soon.